three ways we resist healthy relationship. Three ways we resist healthy relationships. It's an interesting topic, right? Well, there's three things that we do when we resist healthy relationship. Just like for me, when I was resisting learning to drive stick and I was missing out on driving this awesome, most beautiful cars, right? When I was a teen. Well, there's three things that we do. Number one, we retain the old way of thinking. Number two, we resist the new way of thinking. Number three, we reject the new experience. The first thing is when you retain the old way of thinking, like I was retaining the automatically way of driving, right? On automatic, right? When I was retaining it, what the problem with retaining the old way of thinking about a relationship is this: you are comfortable with it, and comfortability with the dysfunction stabilize the dysfunction. So that's what happens. I got used to something. I got used to the way something feels, and I couldn't let it go because I was already criticized, or the feeling, the comfortability of what was next, I pushed it away. So I rather retain. And remember, what you retain, you're going to contain. And what you contain, you have to maintain. So when you retain the old way of thinking, you're not only containing it, you're maintaining it as well. And when you're maintaining it, and you start fighting, like the second point, we resist the new way of thinking. Well, the problem with resisting the new way of thinking, what we do is also we close the door to the solution. When you resist the new way of thinking, you close the door to the solution. You close the door to the right relationship. You close the door to having help in your relationship, in having a new relationship. He says, well, how do I do that? Well, when you're resisting, you're also replacing a new way with the old way, okay? And you're going to push away. That means that you're going to say, well, I don't need any help. I'm okay. I've been to it. I'll figure it out on my own. How's that working out, right? The third thing, again, when we're holding on to the old way of thinking, we also reject the new experience because the way we think is critical. I didn't say critical thinking, is the way we think is critical. Critical thinking is really good, actually. You think through it. But thinking critically is a whole different ballgame. We criticize, and like I did with my car, I was criticizing, well, I don't want to drive this thing, and it's not. I made up rationalization, defensive ways because I didn't want to think. I didn't want the pressure to learn something new. And I think sometimes that's what we do. We push away an experience, a new experience, because we're afraid of what it takes to keep that experience. How do we get the three things that I'm going to give you for us to kind of get to a point where we could have actually new relationship? We could invite a new way of thinking. The very first thing we need to do is to release the old way of thinking. You said, Spanky, that's very simple. How am I going to release the old way of thinking? Let me tell you something. The way you're thinking, the old way with the old relationship is attached to resentment. You have a resentment somewhere and now that's attached to that. And remember, resentment, you're going to repeat a feeling, okay? But with the problem also with resentment, you're going to have revenge. And resentment also stems from you blaming and not being responsible for your situation or for your relationship. It's always somebody else's fault. When it's always somebody else's fault, guess what? The mistakes repeats, okay? So we got to release the old way of thinking in that way. The second thing, we got to replace the old way by modeling a new way of thinking. I say model. Model, that means you need a mentor. You need to look at someone that's actually the way, like I had to model somebody that knew how to drive stick shift in order for me to do it. As a matter of fact, I had to model a better relationship from what I had in my mind in order for me to still be married after 24 years. And I still model people that have a better marriage than I do, or are in a place that I want to be. So you need to model a mentor. So if you want to replace the old way of thinking, you need to replace with the new way of thinking by modeling a mentor, okay? The last thing, if you want to receive the experience, receive a new experience, you need to stick around with the new way of thinking. You need to stick around with a new experience. For me, when I learned to drive stick, I really wanted to go back to automatic, you know what I mean? Now it's cool. It's just like learning how to swim, right? Once you do it, it's actually, for me, it took me a while to learn how to swim. I was 25 years old when I first learned how to swim. Same thing. I was resisting because I was retaining my old way of thinking because I just didn't feel safe with something new. Okay. So in order for you to experience to keep the experience, you have to repeat the experience. You have to stick to the experience. Well, thank you so much for watching my videos. Please do subscribe if you like the video, and please share it. And also click on the bell button there so you could be notified with any new videos that I come out with. Thank you.